It is always game day in Cleveland. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. We are brought to you by Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. So, Daryl, really nothing going on. It's kind of slow, Good game on Sunday and no news after that.
In our dreams.
Whole moment in Brownstown. Come on, man. Are you kidding? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Help me.
I wish I could. None of it's good. I wish I had some better news for folks as they enter week 2. But yeah, just none of it's good. Deshaun Watson is now, it appears, subject to potential league discipline stemming from that lawsuit that was filed on Monday. We heard from Watson on Wednesday. Really didn't say a whole lot, obviously, for legal reasons. Did talk football at times with Watson, and let's be honest about it, the football aspect of it, not really good either. So just hate to be Debbie Downer on the preview podcast here, but it's not been a good start to the season for the Browns, unfortunately, and things just don't get any easier for them as they go to Jacksonville. But obviously what happened Monday with those latest allegations and that lawsuit being filed, the NFL announcing that they're launching an investigation into those allegations, which means that they're not covered under the original disciplinary settlement that cost Deshaun 11 games. And
do you think, just not to stop you there quickly, do you think the NFLPA is going to come back and say, what are you guys doing? Well, this is already covered.
No, because the allegations are the most severe that have been made against Watson. These go above and beyond the previous 24, 25, 26 lawsuits that he faced. And, he settled 23 or 24 of those. I think there's 1 or 2 of them still kind of pending in civil court and working their way through. But the allegations presented of this particular sexual assault, the most severe allegations. And so it does not appear that he's covered here by double jeopardy, because that was part of the settlement, was that, hey, if, a couple more of these allegations pop up of, misconduct during massage therapy sessions, that you can't come back and suspend me and punish me further. But to explain the differences for people, because the question you ask, Andy, is pretty much the common question everyone has. Why isn't this covered under the original settlement? Number one, as I stated, the allegations are the most severe sexual assault allegations that have been made against him. So it's another level. So there's that aspect of it. Also, the previous discipline was the result of professional misconduct. Remember, these were massage therapy appointments, or supposed to be massage therapy appointments. He was, seeking some, extra sexual related benefits related to those that resulted in those lawsuits and that misconduct allegations, or I should say the misconduct allegations. Whereas this was a social endeavor. This was supposed to be a private dinner date at her residence and whatnot before this alleged assault took place. So that's what distinguishes this, Andy, as to why I don't think the double jeopardy is going to apply here. And yes, Watson will be subject to more discipline. I just don't think this process is going to play out by the end of the season. I think that whatever plays out, not only in civil court with this particular case, but when it comes to the league investigation, the league discipline, I think that it'll affect 2025, not 2024. And again, I have to say, if in fact the league finds that they feel Watson violated the personal conduct policy. I needed to put that in there. Sorry, Andy.
Sure. No. Here's my point. Fans want to know, is Deshaun Watson going to be playing for the Browns this year? Yes. I think that's what fans are asking. I think the answer is yes. I think you're right. I don't think the league look, even if you wanted swift justice in this, I don't know if the NFL is all about swift justice on this. Let's face it. You saw what the rates for quarterbacks became after the Browns signed this deal with Deshaun. So I don't think the rest of the league is in a big hurry to let the Browns get a little bit of relief and maybe let Deshaun go if they feel like they've had enough.
Yeah, aside from what Kevin Stefanski said on Wednesday, Andy, about he's going to play Sunday in Jacksonville, as far as the questions about the distraction, because let's be honest about it, this is a massive distraction. Okay. Because it's 2022 all over again from the standpoint of these questions are now being asked, not only of Watson, but Stefanski. We asked Denzel Ward about it. We asked Jerry Jeudy in the locker room about it. And you know, some of the other reporters from other outlets that, you know, because I had to go in back to the media room to listen to Deshaun. I needed to be there for that on Wednesday. So, you know, some other reporters stayed back in the locker room or had help with their outlets to stay back in the locker room and talk to all the guys. I mean, it's just, it is something that has to be asked, the distraction factor. Now I'll tell you, the locker room didn't seem the least bit distracted by it. They certainly didn't seem the least bit hung over from the week 1 loss to the Cowboys. It was very loud, very boisterous, very energetic locker room during the portion that was open to reporters. But there is the distraction factor. There is the factor, again, of the adjudication in civil court. What does that look like? And how does that get resolved? And then also, too, you know, how does the league investigation end up? And then, you know, is he, you know, subject to punishment? Do they find that he violated the personal conduct policy, or do they find that, you know, this particular allegation and the evidence that they were able to collect regarding it and whatnot does not rise to the level of a violation? So if he is suspended again, then I think we can have the conversation about what the Browns do from like the big picture of the contract, getting out of it and things like that. I just think that right now it's entirely too premature, because if we have that conversation, then we're presuming he's guilty. And that's obviously not fair to Deshaun. And it's not fair to not only the civil legal process that has to play out, but it's also not fair to the investigation that the league is now undertaking.
You know, and I agree with everything you just said 100%, but that also there's no, I mean, it's drama. It doesn't matter. I mean, like you said, it's a distraction to the team, whether he's guilty or not guilty, or it's not, this isn't criminal. So negligent or not negligent, I think, is that probably the right way to put it? I don't know. I'm looking for
I would say liable. You know, that he's found to be liable for damages, because that's
okay.
What it is, you're seeking damages.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure we use the right words there. But you know, every little thing becomes a big thing. Like everyone's talking about the part where Joel Toney was down and Deshaun went to go help him. And there's a picture, and it looks like Joel's trying to wave him off, and then Joe Thomas says that offensive linemen are like turtles. They've got to turn around and get up the other way. I don't know. Is that him defending Joel? Is that him defending Deshaun? Is that the moment? Or what fans look at it and say, well, look at that. Your offensive lineman doesn't like your quarterback because he won't take help from him. And, you know, no matter what's truthful, when you've got drama on the outside, everyone is scrutinizing every little thing.
Yeah, no question about it. And in that particular situation, if you watch and really pay attention when the linemen get up, they like 2 people helping them up, 1 person on each arm. They don't like being pulled up just from one arm. It's a balance and safety and preventing injury type of thing. They typically, if they are helped up, it's 1 person on each arm helping them up. Otherwise, it's, as Joe Thomas posted on social media, the players like to roll over, get on their knees, and then work their way up from there. So, but you're right. Every little interaction, right? Amari Cooper scowling on the sideline in Deshaun's direction, right? I mean, just every.
I mean, there was
apart.
There was even a question on Monday about the way Deshaun warmed up for the game, that he wasn't even on the field for most of the game, and that Jameis was taking most of the snaps with the ones, and then Deshaun stopped in for like 15 snaps and then went back to like taking pictures and doing stuff with, and that's fine if that's the way you get warmed up and that's what they need to do. But you kind of wonder, okay, here's a guy we're talking about not getting enough snaps, didn't play in the preseasons, got the opportunity to be with the ones on the field, you know, like an hour or hour and a half before the game, and yet isn't taking. And now, you know, again, if the Browns go out and win, no one's talking about that story. No one's talking about how Deshaun warmed up. And now everyone is watching everything under a microscope.
Yeah. And there's another, you know, piece to this too, you know, as you were talking there, and I just lost it. I have the COVID brain fog. But yeah, no, you're right. Every little thing is under the microscope. Every little thing that Deshaun does or does not do is under the microscope. Look, I asked him a couple of obviously suit related questions, because for as much as the Browns really wanted to make his availability strictly about football, it just we couldn't do that. Like, I mean, it just is journalistic malpractice not to ask. Now he chooses how he answers the questions. Certainly we respect, because of the legal process, there are things he cannot answer. The one thing that, he did say was that, this was new to him, these allegations. Now, the plaintiff's lawyer fired back on Instagram in a statement, said, well, we've been trying to work with Deshaun's people for about 10 months now on a settlement. And this is something that, or this particular incident, Deshaun should remember. There was some condescending tone.
Right. Yeah. Like you're trying to figure out, well, wait a second. This is
he's had so many, the overall thing of like, he's had so many of these, we understand if he might forget, but the allegations here are such that he should remember who this young lady, this woman is, and whatnot. But it just, everything's going to be under the microscope. His play is under the microscope.
Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's talk about his play when we come back. Let's take a quick time out. We'll come back. It's always game day in Cleveland. It is always game day in Cleveland. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin, brought to you locally by Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. All right, so we're talking about Deshaun Watson before we went to break. And Daryl, on top of everything that happened off the field and all those things that are going on, the controversy and and just like on the field was not good the other day. And, we talked about him warming up. So, pick up where you left off, and we talk about, what we saw on the field and how much of that is because Dallas is good. And I think a lot of people are discrediting Dallas a little bit, because I hope that we go back and look at the season and we're sitting here in week 5 and we go back, you know what? Dallas was damn good. No wonder we got our butts kicked in that game. So I think that's the hope, but I'm just worried that that's not the case. And the fact that you're playing without your regular 2 left tackles, and the one guy that played last year didn't look so good.
Yeah, I mean, there were 2 questions that I asked Watson that were football related that I felt were important for him to address. One was the distraction factor and his ability to focus, because not only is he dealing with this latest litigation, but his father passed away on Friday. We learned that after the game. Former teammate and friend passed away on Saturday. So he played with a heavy heart on Sunday too. And again, we don't know if he knew that these allegations were coming down or not. Again, he said no, but we don't know, right? So it's understandable. He's got a lot on his mind, and it's understandable to ask, is he going to be able to focus and regroup and mentally deal with all of that, all the external stuff, while at the same time focusing on football and trying to help the Browns win games, because he did not look good. And that led to my second question from him. And that was the fact that he got hit 17 times by the Dallas Cowboys, 6 times sacked. And those are plays. I mean, he used to be a quarterback, Andy, that loved it when teams brought the house and they brought the heat and the pressure and tried to get after him, because he would just make them pay and look really, really stupid, either with his feet or with his arm. We didn't see that on Sunday. We saw a lot of hesitation. We saw a lot of apprehension from him. And that led to all of that contact that Dallas's defense was able to make on him at his expense, right? And it doesn't get any easier for him this week with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're a similar team when it comes to trying to, bring the pressure. I mean, Trayvon Walker had 2 sacks and I think 6 or 7 tackles in week 1. Josh Hines Allen is a load to deal with up front. I mean, Armstead had a sack last week, and he has, put some good, film out there. So this is a tough Jacksonville front, and he's going to be basically dealing with the same thing he dealt with Dallas. Because guess what? If I'm Jacksonville watching that film, and Doug Peterson said this on Wednesday, where he said, well, it kind of looks like the Deshaun's getting to know the new offense, and the new offense is kind of trying to get to know Deshaun. So if I'm Peterson and the Jaguars defensive coordinator and that Jaguars front, I'm going after Deshaun because I saw how he reacted against Dallas. Not good, right? And I'm going to try and repeat that. And look, and then if Deshaun magically recaptures that explosiveness and the ad-libbing ability that he has, which we haven't seen a lot of since he's come to the Browns, then so be it. But you can bet, I believe the Jaguars are really going to come after him on Sunday, Andy, and make him beat them with his feet and with his arm and his decision-making downfield, which, again, wasn't that great against the Dallas Cowboys.
No, why wouldn't it? I mean, all you have to do is watch the tape and see exactly what Dallas did. Dallas came to play. The Browns didn't. That's what it looked like. It looked like they got, we talked about this after the game. They got outplayed on offense. They got outplayed on defense. They got outplayed on special teams, and they got outcoached. That was about as bad as you can get when you're trying to have an opener and you're not prepared for it. I think that's the hardest part of it. I am curious, though, is there, I don't know, a communication issue, or is there just take some time to blend together what we're seeing from Ken Dorsey and Kevin Stefanski? I mean, should we take a deep breath on that and say, okay, well, it was week one, it didn't work. But then again, there was all this talk about being able to run the ball, and the Browns couldn't run the ball either.
Well, I don't know that there was all this talk about the Browns running the ball, because
that's like, I was listening to the pregame show coming in, and I was just like, I can't believe all these people are saying the Browns are going to run the ball. And I'm like, what?
Not from me. I think I was the one kind of throwing some caution flags out there to folks during training.
Maybe I was listening to the wrong pregame show. Just kidding. I was listening to our pregame show. Come on.
You might have, because I all throughout training, I'm like, yeah, I don't know about the run game right now. I don't know. Like, it's hard to judge. That was my nice way of saying the run game looked like crap in training camp. I was trying to be diplomatic about it. Hang
on. Let me call into the podcast. Hello? Hey, welcome to the show. Hey, can we get Kareem Hunt back? If I get one more phone call on that, I'm just going to walk out of the studio.
So there's a couple of problems with the run game. And one of those problems is not run game related. It's situational football. They were behind the sticks the whole afternoon. You can't have DeJuan Jones false starting and not lining up correctly. Okay? Like, that has to get fixed. You can't be getting these pre-snap penalties. The offensive line, if my memory serves me correctly, was flagged 6 times, I should say. 5 times were pre-snap. 3 of those were illegal formations. You can't have that. So, and Deshaun talked about this on Wednesday as well. He said, hey, we can't get behind the chains. We need some positivity early in the drives to get some rhythm going. I asked Jerry Jeudy in the locker room, hey, is this this whole notion of rhythm when it comes to an offense and drives and things like that? Is that immediate creation, or is, there's something tangible and legit to that? And he said, no, I mean, you need positive plays to create that rhythm, and you can't find it when you don't have a lot of positive plays. And clearly, when you look at especially that first half, Andy, 6 to 7 drives, 3 and out, 1 first down, and the 7th drive, they didn't even get the 3rd down because it was an interception on 2nd down. So when you have those short drives and it's 3 and out, you're lightning fast on and off the field, you can't establish anything. So I'm actually going to defend the run game here. To your point, how can you get the run game going when you have no rhythm offensively to begin with, right? So, yes, my expectations for the run game are dialed back and tempered a little bit because, again, didn't look all that great to me during training camp. But, yeah, it's hard to be effective on the ground when you're just really not effective when it comes to the basics of lining up correctly and not moving before the snap, and you're getting those
discipline.
Those 5-yard penalties kill you, man.
All right, you talked about injuries. There's one big injury we're going to talk about when we come back here in a second, because it is definitely going to hurt the offense, and we'll get into that. It's always game day in Cleveland. Hey, we always love having you on board for It's Always Game Day in Cleveland. Thank you for watching us, especially if you're watching on YouTube or you're listening to us on the Odyssey app. It's Always Game Day in Cleveland is brought to you by our friends at Smiley One in Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. Daryl, when we went to break, we started talking a little bit about the offense and the offensive woes, and things don't get better with the number of injuries that the Browns announced midweek this week. And also, you're losing David Njoku, who you brought to light immediately following the game that said, he was walking out in a walking boot. So you've lost your number 2 wide receiver on an offense that's struggling. How are they going to get through this? And how did the tryouts go the other day? What do you think is going to happen? There were a bunch of guys that came in on Tuesday. I know no one was out there, but it sounds like they had a bunch of tight ends in to take a look at those guys on Tuesday.
Well, they did sign Jeff Swam to the practice squad there. But yeah, I mean, not having David Njoku, that's obviously a big loss. But the good news, glass half full here. David did not get put on injured reserve. They placed 4 players on injured reserve, all defenders. David Njoku wasn't one of them. I asked Kevin Stefanski if that was just a sign that Njoku is going to be back sooner than later. He really wouldn't say, but I'm going to say yes, it was, because if the ankle sprain was one that's going to keep him out 3 and 4 weeks, I would imagine they would have just put him on injured reserve. But the defense took a beating on Wednesday. Mahmoud Diabate, hip injury, IR. Toney Fields, the second with an ankle injury, IR. Defensive tackle Mo Hurst, ankle injury, IR. And poor Juan Thornhill, another calf injury for him. And he is back on injured reserve. So they also added a couple of guys, David Bell, Mike Ford Jr., and Sam Kamara. So that's a receiver, a corner, and a defensive tackle signed to the active roster from the practice squad. And then Kaliki Hudson from the Saints practice squad. He's a linebacker, also brought to Cleveland. So,
Daryl, can you explain those IR rules? Now, are those guys done for the season? Are they done for 4 weeks? Can they all return? Can you only designate certain guys for the 4-week return? Okay, so, all of them.
Yeah, and Kevin said that all 4 of those players, they're not season-ending injuries. So that's good news that they knock on wood, didn't lose anyone for the season. But still, temporarily in the short term here, those are some pretty significant losses. You lose the starting safety, you lose one of your big defensive tackles, and you lose not one but 2 of your key linebackers. So that's a pretty big blow.
So also, how will they strengthen the wide receiving core? Do they need to? That's my question, because they brought in somebody. I was just kind of teeing after that.
I know. It's your favorite guy has risen from the dead.
Well, that's not actually. But you can talk about David Bell.
David Bell. Like, were you like just doing cartwheels because they not only brought him back to the practice squad, but now on Wednesday he was officially signed back to the 53.
I feel your excitement about this. I
need to know. Is this your victory lap?
No, I'm not taking a victory lap. Why would I do that? There's no way I would do
that. That's why you love David Bell.
No, I just want to see him get the opportunity to not play well, so I can rule out the fact that people think he's not good, because I think he can play the game. I just think he needs to get the opportunity to be able to get a couple passes his way. I don't know why he just couldn't.
Well,
he couldn't jump off the page. But I think the other point that a lot of people are going to be looking at is Kadarius Toney. Like, he's sitting there on the practice squad now. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't jump David Bell to get on the regular roster. Unfortunately,
give it time.
He's got one problem, and that's that he has difficulty catching the football, but he can also return kicks, so that's good.
I'm sorry.
What do you think of the Toney signing?
Is catching football's part? Is that important?
No, it depends.
Receiver
depends how you look at it. What do you? I'm kind of intrigued by it. I don't think it was a bad move by picking him up and putting him on the practice squad.
It is a low risk, high reward move. So whatever. You know what? I don't get excited about those like the moves like that.
Yeah, but he's not an atypical put him on the practice squad guy. I mean, he's a guy that's well known, had a huge opportunity in Kansas City.
But here's the thing. Remember the conversation we had toward the end of training camp, right? We made a vow. We're no longer getting overworked and excited about guys brought in to the practice squad or from other teams.
I missed this. I don't remember taking it.
They're not saving the season. Okay. He's not saving the season.
Have you never listened to Baskin and Phelps? Do you understand what I listen to 20 hours a week? That is the basis of our show. Bring in some scrub from some team that no one knows about, and all of a sudden they had one good fantasy football game while they were playing on one of Phelps's teams, and suddenly They are a superstar.
If you only knew how little I listen to your radio show.
That's okay. I barely listen to you too, so that's fine. We're in good shape.
Hey, but you know what? I don't listen to the morning boys. I don't listen.
Oh, well, that makes me feel better.
Boys, and I don't listen to the night boys. Because I'm busy. I'm working. Like I'm doing stuff. Like I'm working. I don't have time to sit around and listen to everyone's takes on everything. But
all right, let's move forward. I'm done ripping the shows.
I do know from the times that I'm on the air with you guys, I know where you stand, which is why it's so easy for me just to rip you and rib you the way I do.
Yeah, I know. The feeling's very mutual. I mean, what we need to do is get you in Fact or Fiction on the pregame show. That's what I'd like to do.
I'm good. I'm good.
No, man, you'd be great. I mean, you already have to do the Browns whip. Why can't you do Fact or Fiction?
Hey, listen, I already do enough for the Browns pregame show, especially if you ask the Browns. Some would say I do too much already for them.
Daryl, can the Browns win on Sunday? What do they need to do?
Yeah, they need to just not go to Jacksonville and suck like they did Sunday against the the Dallas Cowboys. I almost said the Dallas Texans. Again, the COVID fog.
Wait, by the way, what's going on with the shirt you're wearing before we get into this? What is that?
So speaking of the shows, this is my homage to Nick Wilson, our afternoon host. And
what is that?
Well, friends, it's a Cleveland Guardians t-shirt.
Oh, okay.
I'm wearing this as an homage.
Is that a bootleg shirt that you bought like off the street?
This is a giveaway, you jack. You know what?
I don't remember the giveaway. What was the giveaway on that?
This was a giveaway earlier.
Is that Cookie Monster on there?
No, this is the City Connect.
Oh, yes. I don't know if I want to be connected to that city.
God, you're such a Scrooge.
Well, it looks like a cartoon.
That's the bet, yeah. But it's
professional baseball, man. Bring your A game.
It is. I like this shirt. I think they did a great job. You just have no fashion taste.
Come on, I'm representing not only my wife's college, but mine as well, and my daughter's.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
There you go.
How's football season going for those flashes?
Stop it now.
In any event, so
where's Josh Cribbs when I need him?
I know. So he's doing.
Where's Jack Lambert when I need him?
So anyway, the reason I'm wearing the shirt is I lost the bet to Nick Wilson, our afternoon host.
What was the bet?
Well, back earlier this year, before baseball season began, we were doing over/under for the Guardian season, and I said 82 wins for them. So Nick took the over 83, and the bet was if they win 83 games, I have to buy him burger, teasers, and fries from one of our fine local burger.
You can say it on the podcast. We all know what it is: the burger, the teasers, the fries.
Yeah, I'm no free plugs, and then
rhymes with Wensons,
and then had the Guardians won 82 or fewer, then I would be the recipient of said burger, teasers, and fries. So the Guardians.
Would you have gotten yours with rhymes with Tensons?
So anyway, back to the bet. On September 10th, the Guardians won their 83rd game. Therefore, next Tuesday evening, and it's very good. Nick is a mountain of a man. Love him dearly. But I made sure that I put a food quantity on this. 1 burger, 1 teaser, 1 milkshake. No seconds, no thirds, no fourths to pay off the bet. So next Tuesday, I have to pay off the bet with Nick.
In what city do you have to go to? Parma?
No, we're going to go to I think we need to go to the original.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the originals and not so
the one that, well, since we're not saying the one that's on the street between 7 and 9,
something
off of Route 7 and 9,
something like that.
Okay. I'm just making sure. Daryl, it has been outstanding. I really feel like I know a lot about this week's game, and I'm just a pleasure to spend the last half hour.
You know what? You said that with a straight face, but I'm picking up your sarcasm.
Yeah. I'll see you. We'll see you after the game on Sunday. Is that
Are you going to make a pick for the game, or are you going to?
Yeah, I think the Browns bounce back this week, although I'm very concerned about the quarterback. I think they can come back and win. I don't know that it's going to be a pretty game. I'm going to go 18-13 Browns.
Dude.
Forget the most obscure numbers I can come up with. What do you got?
I'm saving my pick for later in the week.
Well, why'd you make me do it then? You made me give a pick, and then you weren't going to give yours. You suck. Thank you. It's always game day in Cleveland. We'll talk to you. You and I are back after the game, right?
Yes.
That's the next time we're back.
We're back for another round of post-game venting.
It's always game day in Cleveland.